Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves to Scrap, and I'm coming to you from the land down under, and we are with series 15 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, and it is day 15, being inspired by the very talented Sandra Lee. This sketch has lent itself to this layout and it is superb to work with. I know that this will become one of my go-tos in the future. Here is my crazy daughter. She thinks that she's an acrobat and can still do her amazing lifts wherever she is, and that's been 2 years since she's done it in the past. These are the papers that I'm choosing to use on this layout, and I'm going with a monochromatic theme using blues this time. We were at Glow just recently in Sydney, where they are at the zoo and they use all the lights to draw in the crowds of a night time. As I said, I'm using monochromatic blue, and I've gone through all my papers and pulled out some scraps that I'm going to use, and these beautiful papers which are Cartabellas. They're an Australian brand and they're difficult to come across at the moment, but I can find them every now and then in Scrapbook. A scrapbook shop or in Spotlight, really. That's where I find them most of the time. Now I'm going to use this as my base, and so to do that I need it to be a little bit wider than I normally cut it. I normally use a 1-inch frame, but this time I'm using a 2-inch frame, and that's because I have the folded corner that I need to incorporate and add some strength in. Now I contemplate whether I'm going to use this busy side with the blue little flowers, or I am going to turn it over and use the larger flowers, but I end up using the smaller ones as my base. I'm going to outline that inner square with the blue cardstock, and I am cutting out the centre of it so that I can use it to mount my photos. With my blue denim stamp pad from Kaisercraft, I am just edging it. I'm not inking it like distressing it, I'm just edging, so I'm running it across the edge to give it a sharp, fine outline so that it just lifts naturally off the layout. Now in the sketch that Sandra has done, that top corner has a dotted line through her design, so I folded the paper here and inked the edge to give that effect across that top square that I'm using from a scrap piece of paper. As you can see, I continually ink the edges because I want the edges to be defined and I want them to stand out on this layout. Given that it's a monochromatic, it also breaks up all that colour and adds definition to the layout. So in here you can see me checking for a edge that I haven't put down, and I knew I hadn't put down all four, and at the end you'll see where I find that I hadn't done the top edge. I'm just trimming down these photos so that they fit onto this piece of paper which I'm using for the backing as per the sketch. And as I work through the mounting of these photos, I actually trim one even further. Now this is my daughter, as I said, she's my youngest. She's always been a little bit of a show off and a trim, showing off how talented she is with her flexibility. And this used to be something she did in all of our places we went, and it was a thing we did when she was at school. She hasn't been at school now for 2 years, but she wanted to show that she could still do it, and she still can. So she gets into that pose and she's got that flexibility, which is quite amazing really. So I've now mounted them and I'm inking the edge once again because that gives it that defined outline without being distressed and blending. I want it to actually be sharp and succinct. So putting down the two photos there, I'm just thinking about the placement. Mine will tuck in under that fold, which is fine. It's a suggestion on the sketch. You can bounce from that sketch, as you will see if you check out the Facebook page where all of the layouts end up. Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Scrapping. It's really, like, the sketches are just amazing and people are very, very talented and come up with some great ideas. So I have gone and cut all these, fussy cut all these flowers from another sheet of paper that I have. And I also had some leftover Vicky Bouton blue flowers, which I actually don't end up using on this layout because they just don't fit in with the theme and the style of it. So I've put those aside for another layout to come in the future. I'm just tucking in underneath the photos, making sure that my placement is correct before I actually glue them in. I like to do that to experiment and build my clusters. Sometimes I should just go straight down because when I go back and do my clusters, they don't look like the first one that I did, and you'll see that in that top corner especially. At the moment it's more to the left, but when I do the final part, it's actually centered. So I should have probably just glued that one straight down because I actually like it further to the left than the center. But it is what it is, and you play around with your layouts as you go. So I'm just manipulating these flowers best to see which part I want them sitting in. I want them to be popped, I want them to stand out, and I want them to be sort of mini clusters within a cluster. So you can see that I have 3 mini clusters within that main cluster along the bottom, and I have that top left-hand cluster up there where I am laying those flowers. I also want to stay true to the sketch as true as I can, and so in this sketch it also has 2 little tags picking out down the bottom. Now, because of the size of my flowers and the size of my photos, which are larger than what is in the sketch, they really do just peek out, and that's fine because I don't need them overpowering the layout, but I do need them there because I like to be true to the sketch and like to pay homage to what the creator has made. So I'm just going in and I'm tucking in some die cuts that I have cut out using the blue backing of the cardstock, and they just add to the cluster and fill it out a bit. And as you can see, I'm popping these flowers up. I'm putting 2 of them here in the center cluster down flat, and the third one I'm popping up just to give it that dimension and shadow and adding interest. Now my clusters are still a little bit flat, so I'm going around with my favorite punch and I'm cutting out some foliage, which I'm just going to tuck in behind the flowers just to build up the clusters and make them a little bit more defined so that you can see the page and your eye is drawn into those clusters. So once again, they tuck in behind the flowers. They're not meant to overpower the scene, but they are meant to supplement and complement. So I went to my stash, and this is going back to our old favourites, and I've gotten brads to put in on my layout because I thought instead of Nuvo dots or something similar, gems or something, I would use brads. And I really do like brads, and I've got these blue ones which complement nicely into the layout, and I'm just fixing them into place to hold down that corner and also to go and finish off those bottom tags. And a little trick I learnt watching a YouTube was to put washi over those brads so they don't catch as they go into your layout and into your albums, and that's such a good thing for the brads, and it also adheres them and makes them stick properly. To finish off, I'm just going to add a little bit of Nuvo drops into the 3 corners, 1 up the top and the 2 down the bottom. That sets up a visual triangle for your eye to roam the page to the photos. The photos were like a pinky blue, as I said, from Glow. We were in amongst this light display that when you touch those balls, they reacted and lit up or went dull, and they were throwing off a purplish bluey haze. As you can see there, like I said, I found that extra bit that I knew I hadn't put down. I've got some wood veneer letters that I have had for a long time, and I went through them all. As you know, you use up all your vowels, and I had to find letters that I had that would allow it to build a title that was conducive for the page. And of course, it came out as Love It, and I do love the fact that she can still do that amazing pose. Like, her flexibility is outstanding, and she has had no formal gymnastics training, and she has had no formal cheerleading or anything like that. She's self-taught, and she is a dyspraxic, which means that coordination is not meant to be her ability, so she's worked really hard to overcome that area of her world, and it helps her, thankfully, for the rest of her life, because it allows her to have that coordination that she needs for all other skills. At the bottom, I've dropped in the date, which was in May this year, and there's my layout using that great sketch. I have the detail in the corner there. You can see that title in the wood veneer that is coloured. I've added 3 clusters within the main cluster at the bottom so that it allows that roaming for your eye. Whoops, just bumped that letter there. Just pull that into place. Okay, so that's my layout. I really did like how it came together. The colours were a bit dramatic. That's a really good sketch there. I know that this will become one that I come back to. And here you can see the clear colours, and those blues are rich and full. There's the brads in the corner there holding down that corner. You can see the blues in the wood veneers, and there's that bottom cluster that has 3 clusters within the main cluster, and that's a nice way of building a focus for your eyes. And they're those 2 little tags that I talked about, and you can see the brads at the bottom there. I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap. As I said, coming to you from Down Under. Give me a thumbs up if you like what I've done. Don't forget to check out the playlist below with all the girls that played along with this and give them some love. If you haven't subscribed, think about doing it. It costs you nothing. Leave me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I love the feedback. It's helpful. You can check me out on all my socials under my name, Kathy Loves to Scrap, including Instagram, where all my layouts end up, even those without a video. I really love the feedback. Please give it to me. Thanks for watching. Happy scrapping. Until next time.